Alrighty. Well, come into swastikasana. Pull your feet back underneath you so that the heels are closer to whatever height you're sitting on. Use your hands to turn the feet up toward the ceiling so you get more in that virasana part of your foot. And use your hands and turn the calf flesh up toward the ceiling. And squeeze the top of your thigh with your hands and externally rotate the thigh. And you can work down the thigh in 3 or 4 segments. And as you do that, afterwards, you should feel that outer hip move in as your sitting bone come more to the midline. And then do that on the other leg as well. So everything just gets organized from the base. And press the tops of the feet down and energetically lift the ankles up, and you'll feel some firmness coming into the outer hips. And go ahead and take your hands and put them on the outside of your knees. And use your hands and just draw up the skin from the outer knee into the outer hip. And the muscle of your leg, even when you're sitting, should actually be working. Okay, so anything with the legs, that actually is always available, even if we're not doing a big, huge standing pose or anything. So press the tops of the feet down and energetically lift the ankles up, and you'll feel that lift come all the way up into the chest. Lengthen up through your side ribs. Roll your shoulder bones back. Bring your shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and into the center of the body and up a little bit. Also a backward bending action, just sitting here at the beginning of class. Fold your palms together at your heart. Gently press your thumb down into your sternum first, and then use your thumb as kind of a resistance. So then you lift your sternum up into the thumb. Use your arms and lift the rib cage up. And as you do that, you should feel the trapezius muscle release down a little bit more and lift up through the sternum one more time into the thumb. And then keeping that chest well lifted and broad, close your eyes and fold your and turn your awareness in. So as you inhale, make yourself taller from the tailbone all the way up through the head. Maintain that height, and as you exhale, move the prana or the energy of the breath outward toward your side ribs and armpits. Inhale, make yourself tall. Keep that height. Exhale, make yourself broad. Inhale, extend yourself. Exhale, expand yourself. Using that breath to create that inner spaciousness. Inner spaciousness is like a magnet for the mind. It entices or invites the mind to turn from the outer world, from all that's going on in the external circumstance of your life, to the inner world, the inner landscape of you, the domain of yoga. Use your exhalations to take your awareness there. And then from that space within, let's all chant 3 Ms together. Follow that sound with your mind. Follow the reverberation of the sound with your mind. And from that space, inhale once more. Keep your chest well lifted and broad as you bring your chin down to your chest and your hands down to your thighs with your palms up. And then raise your head and open your eyes. Can't see who just popped on, but all right, welcome everyone. All right, so sit up straight and tall. I'm thinking about just back bends here. Feel firmness in the outer hips, lengthen the sides of the torso, roll your shoulders back and bring your shoulder blades in, away from the neck and into the center of the body and up a little bit. And to get a little bit more activation in the shoulders, turn your palms up and draw your elbows in back behind you. And that'll help you move those shoulder blades in toward each other a little bit more. And turn your thumbs back toward the wall behind you, and you should feel that opens the side of or broadens the chest and gives you a little bit more of almost a backward bending feeling, even as you're just sitting here. Right, and then bring your hands down to the side. Take a brick, if you have one. I don't see mine right now for some reason. All right, and then you're going to reach out to the left side of your body with your brick. You don't necessarily need a brick, but it works better for me. I have no idea what happened to my bricks, but I have my little quarter round, so that'll work. You're going to slide out to the side. Just turn out the other room. Lengthen up, stretching out with it. Volume both sides of the torso. Bring your shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and into the center of the body and up a little bit. Then add your top arm into Parsvakonasana action. Release your groin down toward the floor. Keep turning your torso toward the screen as you keep extending through that whole side of the torso. So even here, you're cultivating a little bit of the backward bending action in your chest. And come all the way back up to the center. And then you're going to do the other side. And even here, as before you lean over, just get the shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and into the center of the body and up a little bit. And as you lean over to the side, turn your torso so it faces the screen. Shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and into the center of the body and up a little bit as you reach out to the opposite side. Then shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and in and up a little bit as you reach your arms out for Parsvakonasana. Release that left groin down toward the floor, lengthen up through that whole side rib, and keep turning your torso toward the screen, even toward the ceiling. But as you turn, bring the shoulder blades in. So the chest stays maximally open as you're turning. And then come all the way back up to the center. And then stretch your legs out into Dandasana, staff pose. You want to work anything with working with the legs. Quadriceps in are lifting inner thighs. And then I'm really a lot lately focusing on this outer knee to the outer hip action. And that really comes from the little toe, not just the upper leg. Okay, so you can, and what all that does is it injects the femur bone into the hip socket, right? Okay, and so you can feel that a little bit more. Take a brick, and you also will need a blanket roll. And then we'll do our other Parsvakonasana on the side. I found a brick. There we go. And then if you were sitting up on some height, go ahead and take the height out of the way for just a second. So I've got my feet up on a brick. So my feet are actually a little higher than my hips. And it actually helps those femur bones draw into the socket a little bit more readily, just by changing the geometry of the pose. Sometimes this can be a lot on the back of the knees. And so you're going to take a blanket and make a roll with it. And you're actually not going to put it on the knees. You're actually going to put the blanket roll underneath your calf muscle. So your heels are elevated on the brick. Your calves are supported by the blanket roll. And then you probably will, as a result, feel a little bit less pressure behind the knees. Now you just spread your toes well, engage your quadriceps, inner thighs, and then the outer thigh. And you should be able to really feel that femur bone drawing a little bit more readily into the socket. Lengthen up through your side ribs, roll your shoulders back, spread your palms well, put your palms down on the floor, spread your palms like you're doing downward facing dog, lengthen up through the side ribs, and then shoulder bones back, shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and into the center of the body and up a little bit. So even here in Dandasana, you're cultivating the backward bending actions for class. All right. Then go ahead and get your height that if you need to sit on for Swastikasana with the other leg cross. And cross your legs the opposite way. Move it. Turn your feet, turn your calves, turn your thighs. This is external rotation of the leg. Backward bends are really more about internal rotation. But sometimes when we use the external rotation work of the legs, it actually helps the internal rotation come along. Okay, then turn your palms up again. Shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and into the center of the body and up a little bit. Then to get more shoulder blade in, pull your elbows back behind you. You can overdo drawing the shoulder blades in toward each other, But just think about moving the outer shoulder blade toward the inner shoulder blade. And you should feel a lift come into the chest. Now turn your thumbs, actually your whole palm, but particularly your thumb, back toward the wall behind you. And when you rotate the arms in that direction, you should feel even more openness coming into that outer edge of the collarbone. And then take your brick off to the side. You're going to reach out a little bit, turn your pelvis toward, turn the pelvic bones from left to right, turn your ribs from left to right, roll your shoulder bones back, do your shoulder blade actions, and reach out through the side of your torso. Then add your arm like you're doing Parshvanasana to really get some nice length in the sides of the torso. Keep turning your torso though as you do that toward the screen, and make sure your shoulder blades are still doing their action on your back so your chest stays maximally lifted. All right, and then keep all that length. In fact, increase it as you come back to the center. And we'll do the second side. Feel the opening that's coming into the chest. Go ahead and proactively turn your torso toward the screen before you even extend outward. Shoulder blade actions engaged. Then reach your hand out to the side, lengthen through your side ribs. Then add your arm for Parshvanasana. Let that groin release down and extend through the side of the abdomen, through each individual rib, through the armpit, all the way up into the ring fingers. Make yourself as tall as you can. All right, and then come all the way back up. And here you are in Swastikasana again. Stretch your legs out into Dandasana. Go ahead and slide off of your setup. And again, let's try putting the feet up onto the brick. And just by doing that, it just changes the geometry of the pose so that your femur bones just are like pushing back into the sockets. Again, when my heels are up like this, I feel a little bit of an overstrain in the back of my knees.
Yeah. Are you sitting on the blankets or on the floor?
I am not.
Okay.
So you want your feet to be higher than the buttocks.
Okay.
So if you're still up on your blankets, maybe make your brick be one taller.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like I'm intentionally putting my feet higher than my buttocks. And then you're going to take your blanket roll and put it underneath your calf muscles. Yeah. For me, that feels really good. It relieves any pressure that's coming into the back of the leg, but it also relieves some tightness that I have been having and working with in my lower back. So that gives me a clue about the importance of calf mashing in general. Lengthen up through your side ribs again. Shoulder bones back, shoulder blades in, away from the neck and into the center of the body and up a little bit. So even back bends here in Dandasana. All right, and go ahead and take your blanket roll out of the way. Bend your knees. Have a brick to sit on for Virasana. So Virasana is a little bit more like the action of the legs for backward bending because from the middle of the thigh, you're internally rotating the leg. Okay? So we did external rotation in Swastikasana, internal rotation in Dandasana, though I wasn't really talking about that. So this is, again, a little bit more internal rotation. Okay? Lengthen up again through your side ribs and roll the shoulder bones back. Shoulder blades in, away from the neck and into the center of the body and up a little bit so you feel that chest lift. Okay? And reach your arms out, interlace your fingers, turn your palms toward me, get your elbows as straight as you can, and reach your arms up into Urdhva Baddha. Suck your outer ankles in, suck your outer calves in, move your buttocks down toward your heels and draw up through the abdomen as you stretch your arms all the way up toward the ceiling. Parvatasana and Virasana. And then release your hands down, switch the grip of your fingers, stretch your arms out again, check back in at your legs, outer ankles in, outer calves in, suck your femur bones in, and reach your arms all the way up. Extend back through your toes as you stretch from the elbows all the way up through the wrist bones. Reach up so much that you feel your abdomen draw in toward the spine. Release your hands down and then interlace your fingers back behind you. Lengthen up through the side ribs and roll those shoulder bones back. Again, shoulder blades in, away from the neck and into the center of the body, but really pull back with your arms. So that you're trying to separate this side part of your chest from the work of your arms. So it looks good, everyone. I can really feel the collarbones really getting broader, feel it broader and opening that stiff part of my shoulder right at the edge of the collarbone. Right, then switch the grip of your fingers. Lengthen up through the side ribs again and roll the shoulder bones back. Shoulder blades in, away from the neck and into the center of the body and up a little bit. And reach back with your fingers. Like someone has your wrists and they're just pulling your arms back so that you can really feel the armpits moving forward away from the arms. All right, and then release your hands down. Feel the vitality that's coming and moving into the chest. Then come on to your hands and your knees. Spread your palms well. Turn your triceps toward the front of the room. Look forward. Shoulder even here, shoulder blades in, away from the neck and into the center of the body and up a little bit. Press the thumb and the first finger again. Turn your toes under and push back into Adho Svanasana. Oh, that feels really good. Downward facing dog. And then walk forward till your feet are right underneath your hips. Place your hands on your pelvic bones. Roll your shoulder bones back and come all the way up. Stand in Tadasana. If you have, then take your brick. We're in Tadasana, but you're going to put the brick between your thighs. Okay, and then again, just thinking, we are actually going to do some back bends and not just backward bending actions, but really, it's one of the things I'm very interested in Iyengar yoga is just how when you have like, okay, we want to go toward backward bends, okay, then you can think about all the poses that you're doing with what does that pose give you in terms of a backward bending action or backward bending understanding, right? So when you have this brick between your legs, okay, you can lift up the inner thighs a little bit more readily, but shoot the brick back behind you, okay, so that you get more internal rotation in the top of the thigh. Lengthen up through the sides of the torso and roll your shoulder bones back, and then stretch your ring fingers down toward the ceiling. Sorry, down toward the floor, or up toward the ceiling, as the case may be. All right, then go ahead and release the brick, and then stand with your feet together in Tadasana. And take your right foot back, left foot back behind you, and your right leg forward. If you happen to be at a wall, you can keep your back heel at the wall, but you don't have to be at a wall. It just makes it a little bit easier to get this backward bending stretch in the leg. So push your left thigh back toward the wall behind you. So that leg gets super, super straight. Turn your pelvis toward the front of the room. Keep pushing your back heel in toward the wall or to the wall as you bend your right knee to come down into Virabhadrasana 1. Extend from that sitting bone to the back of the heel. And I'm noticing as I go down lower, my back leg is giving way a little bit. So I'm going to extend that back leg even more and sit a little bit deeper into Virabhadrasana 1. And go ahead and stand back up. And then we'll do the other side. And if you're at the wall, you can put your back heel at the wall, but it's not necessary to be at the wall. It just gives your heel a little feedback. And then get that back leg straight first, opening the front groin, which is something we need for the backward bending actions. Turn your pelvis toward the front of the room. Your hands are, you can just keep your hands on your hips. Then bend your front knee. But as you bend that front knee, keep pushing your back heel in toward the wall as you extend from your sitting bone to the back of the knee. Really work, and the more I sit down, I can feel my back leg kind of wants to give way. Okay? So I have to keep working to keep it straight as I extend from that buttock bone to the back of the knee. Okay? Virabhadrasana 1. without the hands. And then straighten that leg back up. Come into Tadasana again. Okay, we were doing Virasana when we were sitting on the brick, right? So now we're gonna do Uttita Ekapada Bekasana. So you might need to hold on to a chair for balance, or you can hold on to the wall. I'm holding on to the wall. Now bend your left leg up. And start off keeping your knees straight together. And my left heel is on the center of my buttock right now. Move your hamstrings and your buttocks toward each other. That's another big, huge backward bending action. Then go ahead and move your heel off to the side of your buttock like you're doing a standing Virasana, and feel how the groin releases. And pull the heel back to the buttock. Now kick your foot into your hand and move your knee back a little bit, but stay upright. Okay? But you are letting the left leg move back some. So you're getting additional opening in that front groin. And then bring the leg back and stand in Tadasana again. Then you're gonna do your second side. So place your hand on the wall. Bend up your leg. Hold on to the foot with your hand and start off with your heel right at the center of the buttock. Start off with your knees lined up with each other. Even here, it's a pretty big opening on the front of the leg. Then move your move your heel out to the outer hip, and you'll feel the inner groin release a little bit more with that extra internal rotation. Then pull the knee back to the center. Now, activate your hamstrings and your buttocks if you haven't already. Kick your foot into your hand. Keep working your hamstrings and buttocks, and you can let your knee move back, your thigh move back, but try and stay upright in your torso as much as you can. And the more you work that hamstring and buttock, the more you're going to feel the opening in the front groin. And release that leg back down, and then stand in Tadasana again. And feel the increased opening in your front groin having done that. All right, one more Virabhadrasana 1, and this time we're going to add the arms into Urdhva Hastasana. All right, so this Virabhadrasana 1, you should feel the good effect of the front groin being more open after having done Ekapada Uttita Bekasana. Uttita Ekapada Bekasana. All right, then take your right foot forward, left foot back. And so even here, I can feel it's easier to get my back leg straight because I did a little bit more front groin work. Now keep your back leg straight, push your heel into the wall as you bend your front knee, move from that buttock bone to the back of the knee, make sure your back leg is still opening, then go ahead and add your arms. And as you reach up toward the ceiling, can you actually sit a little bit deeper into the pose and keep your back leg as straight as you can, working the legs. And then straighten your arms and come back up. Sorry, bring your arms down, straighten your leg and come back up. All right, second side. So right leg back, left leg forward. And before you go, observe, can you feel the Uttita Bekasana work in your back groin? Engage your hamstring and buttock also like you were doing in Uttita Bekasana. Turn your pelvis toward the front of the room. Keep your back leg straight, so you may have to work the back leg even more as you extend from your sitting bone to the back of the knee into Vira 1. Go ahead and add your arms. Check back in at your back leg. Reach up through your fingers, extend from the buttock bone to the heel, sit lower, reach higher, and then come all the way back up. Release your hands and stand in Tadasana again. Feel the more openness that's come in the front of the body. The chest is, getting the chest open is a big part of backward bending, but so also is getting the front groin open. Actually, when you look at the pictures of Mr. Iyengar doing back bends, actually for me, that's one of the things I really notice more as much as anything is how open his front groins are at the backward bending. Okay. So just to get that a little bit more, let's go ahead and lie down on the floor, and you'll need a brick, okay? Kirsten, you can, this might be a little bit too much stretch, so you might you could just lie down on the floor flat, okay, or maybe with a little bit of folded blanket. Okay, but what I want you to feel when you lie down on the floor, and the same thing, kind of backward bending action, you're going to put a brick underneath your sacrum. Okay, I'll move the camera in just a second. But when you put that brick underneath your sacrum, it makes it more opening on that front groin. Now you have to work your legs as you're here, because you want to try and really get the legs straight. So lift up through the quadriceps, lift up through the inner thighs, engage your hamstrings and your buttocks toward each other. Yeah. There you go. Feel that opening in the front groin. Tuck your shoulders underneath you, straighten your legs out, Pratima. There you go. All right, bend your knees. See if you can make the brick be one higher. Okay, so rather than the brick being flat, let the brick be on its medium height. Okay. And then try and straighten out your legs again. You can have your feet a little bit apart. Good. Now really open those front groins. Tuck your shoulders underneath you. Straighten your legs a little bit more. Pratima, everyone. Sometimes it's hard to get the legs straight. So let's lift the right leg up, okay? And extend and get the right leg, is not all the way up, just a little bit up, okay? Just a little bit up. Then now extend as much as you can from your inner knee to your inner heel, so that leg gets as straight as possible. Then keeping that leg as straight as possible, lower that heel down to the floor. Then feel the difference in the sides, and then do the same thing with the other leg. So lift the leg up just a little bit, so you can really extend from that inner knee through the inner heel. Turn that thigh from the outside in also, and then release your heel down toward the floor with both legs straight. There you go. I don't think I knew you had a cat, Vicky. All right, and then both of your knees. Okay. I didn't know that you were a multi-animal person. Just knew you were a dog person. Okay. And then lower yourself down into Supta Tadasana again on the floor. Okay. So now your front groin should feel nice and open. Okay, then bend your knees, get rid of the brick. Well, most of you already got rid of the brick. Roll to your side and stand back up. Then if your blanket is still rolled, okay, you can use the same blanket. You're going to take your blanket roll and roll it. Okay, so we open the front of the groin. We're going to go back to opening the chest a little bit more. We're going to get our some of the inversions out of the way, do a little bit of, not out of the way, it's not, we just did it. We get to delight in doing some inversions. Okay. Then we're going to work on some chair backward bending. Okay, so I'm lying down. I've got my roll the same way that my spine is going for right now. And I'm going to lengthen my spine down and lay down on the blanket roll. You can keep your legs bent. Then now you've got this roll on your spine, but it should give you an ability to really feel how the shoulder blades move in. Can you move them away from the neck? And then keeping the upper abdomen engaged, can you move your shoulder blades in and up a little bit so that you really feel that chest broaden? And because you've got this blanket roll, hopefully, you can really feel those shoulder blades, shoulder bones drop down toward the floor. It's almost like you're trying to squeeze the blanket roll and suck it up into the spine so that the chest opens more. Okay? All right. Then pretend that you could just glue the blanket roll onto you. Okay. So when you come back into downward facing dog, imagine that you have the blanket roll still. Okay. So you're here getting ready to go into downward facing dog. Look forward, Imagine you have the blanket roll. Draw your abdomen in toward the spine, shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and into the center of the body and up a little bit. And then stretch back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And just observe how this downward facing dog, at least what I'm observing is that my armpits are a lot more open. Yeah. My legs feel more engaged from having done all of that front groin leg action. You just observe what this dog does for you. Looks pretty good, everyone. All right, then walk forward till your feet are right underneath your hips. Place your hands on your pelvic bones. Roll your shoulder bones back and come all the way up. Stand in Tadasana. Just quickly, we're going to go over some of the inversion arm actions. So you're going to stretch your arms up into Urdhva Hastasana. Turn your palms to face toward the front of the room. Keep turning your triceps from the outside in, and now flick your fingers back behind you like you were going to do handstand, because you might in a little while. But just observe that flicking of the fingers back in terms of the shoulder blades. It actually helps to bring those lower shoulder blades in a little bit more. All right. And then release your arms down. Stretch your arms out. Oh, actually, go ahead and get a brick. So that's handstand. Hold on to your brick with your hands like this. Keep your elbows in the same distance as the brick. Now reach your arms up toward, or elbows up toward the ceiling, so the brick is going to come back behind you. You have to keep turning those triceps in. It's a lot harder. And so here you are practicing for Panchamayurasana. And then just reach your head up toward the ceiling. Then bring your head back straight. Stretch your arms up into Urdhva Hastasana again, and reach your arms down. It's a lot of work, isn't it? Okay, let's do that again. So stretch your arms out. You have to keep turning. This is also big backward bending action. You have to keep turning the triceps from the outside in. Bend your elbows. Keep your elbows in line with your shoulders. Squeeze the brick with your hands. Keep your elbows in line with your shoulders as you move the brick back behind you. Don't let it fall all the way. Just keep it back behind you. Keep turning the triceps from the outside in. Look up toward the ceiling. Look back straight ahead. Then reach your arms back up to Urdhva Hastasana with the brick. And release your hands down. Wow, that is a ton of work on the arms, I have to say. All right, then just headstand action. So interlace your fingers. Put your hands back behind your head. Triceps turn from the outside in. Right. Keep your elbows where they are. Right. But release your hands back out like you're going to do Panchamayurasana. Feel that opening in the shoulder blades. Then up to like you're going to do a handstand. And then back to headstand, interlacing your fingers the other way. So you've got headstand, turning the tricep from the outside in. Keep turning the triceps from the outside in. Open your palms for Panchamayurasana. And it's even hard. You have to really turn those triceps from the outside in. And reach your arms up into Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. And then just for the heck of it, put your hands behind your back and lift your chest well, planting the seeds for shoulder stand. Okay, ready? So we're basically gonna do those variations. Yeah. But if you aren't inverting for whatever reason, you can repeat that arm work because it was hard, wasn't it? Okay. So, if you're not wanting to handstand, you could do the L, or you could do downward facing dog. Okay. Or you could just say, you know what, I'm going to practice upside down headstand because it's really a lot of work. Okay. So everyone decide what you're going to do for the handstanding part of class. You might want to tuck your shirt in. Go toward a wall. You're going to put your hands down on the floor. I'll demonstrate from the side. If you want to watch a demo, you can. I'll do it and then I'll watch you. I put my hands close to the floor. I mean, close, well, they're definitely on the floor. They're more than close to the floor. My hands are about 8 inches away from the wall. I turn my triceps just like I was doing downward facing dog. And then I'm gonna kick up into handstand. Then I look at the floor and see if I can come off the wall and balance. It actually felt very light, I have to say, after all that groin work we did. All right, so do what you're gonna do in handstand. Again, if you don't do handstand, you can repeat downward facing dog, or you can just do, you can put your feet up the wall for the L, okay, or you can just reach your arms above your head and flick those fingers back, because that's plenty of work. That looks pretty good, everyone. Good, Marsha. Ribs back, buttocks up a little bit. Just a little tiny bit more kick, Melinda. You know, yeah, there you go, Melinda. Very nice. Good, Bob. And then walk your feet in, Ryan, if you want to kick up. Chaya and Pratima, that looks really great. All right, Gary and Cliff are going toward headstand. There you go. Okay, not bad, everyone. All right, and then go ahead and come down. And your for Panchamayurasana, you can get a strap. Okay. The other thing you can do if you don't do Panchamayurasana just as its own pose is you can get your chair, which we're going to use for chair backward bending in just a second. Have your brick. You can put your elbows on the chair and really just work on opening the armpits and from Panchamayurasana prep. Okay, so if you don't do Panchamayurasana, you can use the chair and just work on opening the armpits and the thoracic spine. Okay. If you do Panchamayurasana, you have a brick at the wall. I like to use a belt, okay, just so my elbows don't go out wide. But if your elbows do stay in place, then you don't need to use a strap. I use it for safety. Put the strap above your elbows, hands on either side of your brick, and then you just kick up. I was taking Prashant's class earlier this morning, and he had people start off who felt up to it doing a handstand and a Panchamayurasana. I have to say, doing it now is a lot easier than it was at 8 a.m. when I just rolled out of bed. Okay, so it feels as being awake is a good preparation. So give that a go. Good Pratima, move your elbows a little bit closer to the edge of the chair. Yeah. And then move your knees back a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah, so really, yes, like that. And even more if you can. That's it. So you're really opening the armpits as much as you can. Yeah. Okay, good job. And release, come down. Any questions about headstand? I mean, not headstand, we haven't done it yet, but handstand or Panchamayurasana? Questions, comments, observations?
When will I be able to do both of those?
When you'll be able to do, well, you know, you have the strength to do it. Particularly, you do. I think it's just, you know, what I would really suggest is just coming into the prep with your hands here, and then just work on lifting one leg up, and just do a little hop. Like you're not even trying to per se get all the way up, but just get used to putting that weight more on your arms. Okay? And one day it'll happen. The main thing with handstand is you've got to keep the elbows straight. Okay? So you might want to also work with the strap. Panchamayurasana, it's the opposite. The elbows are bent, and it's a very different opening in the armpit. Okay? It's a lot harder for most people. Okay? All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, let's do headstand or whatever you do when headstand rolls around.
You go up first.
Kristen, we are going to be doing chair Dvipada, so maybe do like a Supta Virasana with support or something, just so you are doing something different. Okay, so go ahead and headstand or whatever you do when headstand rolls around. If you don't do headstand, again, here's the headstand prep that you can do. You interlace your fingers like it's headstand. You put your forearms on the floor.
And then you can either do a headless headstand prep where your head is off the floor, press the forearms down, lift the shoulders up, or you can bring the head down to the floor and you just don't even need to go up. Okay. So those are two good options. You can also repeat downward facing dog.
Yeah, just something that for a little bit of time, you're going toward the upside down. That's good, Chaya. Chaya, now just walk your feet in a tiny bit so that your shoulders are a little bit more over your elbows. That looks pretty good, gang, Cliff. Vicky, a tiny bit, your legs are listing to the right. Okay. That looks good, Pratima. So you can do headstand, so no problem. All right. Melinda, extend a little bit more through your inner heels and your elbows are a little bit close together, but your armpit action looks really good. Bob, that looks really pretty straight. Maybe just a little bit more inner heel extension. I'm sure everyone who's off screen is also doing an excellent job. Yeah. All right, then just now to come out of the pose, keep your shoulders well lifted, bring one leg down and the other leg down, and just rest in downward facing child's pose. Kristen, if you're in Supta Virasana, you can stay in Supta Virasana. It's nice opening for the front groin. Nice, Vicky. Just come down when you're ready. Okay. So one reason I don't, back bends as a clan of poses are actually very hard to teach on Zoom because they're harder to demonstrate in terms of getting the camera right and everything. So I have been noticing that I don't teach them as much as I teach some other things. Okay. But I've got my chair here. Okay. And you want to have your chair about the distance of your legs away from the wall. Though it is good to work with, you can also work with bent legs. Okay? So it's not so much on the groin. Then you're going to take your mat. If you have a second mat, great. If you don't, you can get by without the mat. But I like to fold the mat into fourths. I've got a skinny sticky mat. I've got a thick one that I'm standing on, but I have a skinny one because it's really good for lots of chair things. If you have gotten the chairs, Castle Hill is still selling their various props. And if you haven't stocked up on your home supply of things, it's a good opportunity to do that. I actually noticed that even now you don't even have to go pick them up. Okay, you can actually, they'll mail them to you. That probably would be expensive to mail a chair. Okay, so I'm gonna sit through the edge of the chair. Sorry, sit through the back of the chair. And even here, I'm getting ready to back bend. Then I lie down on the chair, and I want to start off with the tops of my shoulder blades on the edge of the chair. And even this is a backward bending action, obviously. Right. And I'm going to put my hands on the side of the chair and push, so I think I get long in the side of the torso. I hook my thumbs to broaden the collarbones. I pull down on the chair with my hands. You can support your head if the neck bothers you. And then I'm going to reach through the chair and pull. And then I'm going to work on straightening out my legs. Okay. Unless that's too much pull on the abdomen or it hurts your lower back, then you can work with bent legs. But here we've got that front groin work that we really prepared ourselves for in the standing pose work. Okay, so that's called chair Dvipada Viparita Dandasana. Right. If you need to support the back of your head with the bolster, a couple of bricks, you're welcome to do that. Okay. Cliff, scoot a tiny bit more toward your head side, I think, unless you're about to fall off, in which case, there you go. And if you can, Cliff, put your hands in between the chair, it'd be even better. That looks good, Melinda. That looks pretty good, Ryan.
Go under the chair.
Fatima, maybe come a little further off toward your head side. Okay. And then if you can straighten your legs, go ahead and do so. And as you straighten those legs, remember Virabhadrasana 1. Okay. Remember Utthita Ekapada Bekasana. Okay. Feel that opening in the front groin. All right. Good job, everyone. Bend your knees. That's the lovely shapes that I can see. Bend your knees. Make sure you're sitting on the chair with your buttocks, and then bend your elbows and push yourself all the way back up. Ryan, what are you on like a piano bench or something?
I'm on my couch.
On your couch. Okay. Well, it looked like it was working. So that's good. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about chair Dvipada Viparita Dandasana? That was just a really basic chair Dvipada Viparita Dandasana. But questions, comments? It's the pose that made me decide to do yoga the rest of my life. Okay. All right. You're going to lie down on the floor again, and you're going to put that brick underneath your sacrum again. Okay. Kristen, you're going to do Supta Padangusthasana 2 off to the side, okay? And you don't have to put the brick underneath your sacrum. In fact, you should put the brick to the side of your hip so it supports your outer hip, all right? The rest of us, though, are going to go back to that situation that we had on the floor with the sacrum on the brick. Okay. You can either use tall brick or, sorry, don't use tall brick. That would be too much probably. But you can use flat brick or medium brick. Okay. We're going to go back to the chair in just a second and try to do Ekapada Dvipada Viparita Dandasana on the chair. But to prepare for that, you have your brick and you have your strap. Okay. And I'm making a loop with the strap that's about the size of my foot. It can be a little bit bigger. And again, if you're not, so it might be too much on the abdomen for some people, or like if you're on your cycle, you probably wouldn't want to do this next one. So you could just do Supta Padangusthasana 2 off to the side. Okay, that's the modification. But if you can, put the brick underneath your sacrum. I'm going to try medium brick. Okay. Stretch both of my legs out. Really work to get the leg as straight as possible. Okay. Then I'm going to put the strap on my foot. And I'm going to bring it straight up toward the ceiling. And so this is Ekapada, Setubandha, I guess you could call it. And then I'm going to stretch my arms above my head. Now, I'm not trying to pull the leg any closer to my torso. It's just going up toward the ceiling. Okay? But I'm really getting a stretch and an opening in that front left leg. Okay? And you're working to bring the other leg straight. Okay? Really try and get your legs straight, bottom leg straighter, everyone. Yeah, so what Chaya just did was a good job. She actually lifted the bottom leg up a little bit so she could get it straighter, and then she tried to lower it back down to the floor. Okay. There you go. Okay. Good job. These look nice. The ones I can see. Straighten that leg a little bit more, Ryan. Top leg. Okay, and then release that leg back down. See if you can feel a difference between the sides of your legs. Or from the legs, not the sides of the legs. And then do the second side. Okay. So really get that bottom leg straight. I mean, you may need to bend it to get the strap on your leg, but that's a different thing. And straighten the top leg up toward the ceiling. And then really work to get that back leg straight, bottom leg straight. A little bit more, everyone. So everyone go ahead and lift the bottom leg up a little bit so you can lengthen out. That was good footwork, actually, Bob. And then stretch it back down. Straighten your top leg also. Melinda, Ryan. That's it, Chaya. Good job. Good. Good, Gay. Good, Cliff. Marcia, move your leg a little bit back toward the wall. So it's a little bit too far forward toward your. Oh. Okay. And then bring the leg. Oh, Kristen, switch sides if you haven't already, but I'm sure you probably did. Okay. All right, and then release the brick. And then just lay on the floor for a couple breaths, recover. Okay. Then if you happen to have a copy of Light on Yoga, the pose that we're getting ready to do with the chair, okay, is on plate 521. It's called Ekapada Viparita Dandasana. Wow. Now, we're actually not going to do that, and it looks like this. Yeah. For those of you who don't have your light on yoga. We're not going to do the part with his head on the floor, though we could with the chair, but we're just going to stretch the arms out straight. But you see how his leg is not really it's going straight up toward the ceiling. Okay? So when you're going to pull on the strap and the leg in the chair, you don't try and pull the leg way toward your abdomen. Okay? What you do instead is you just try and get the leg away from the chair where it goes up toward the ceiling. Okay, that's plate 521. Now we're going to do it on a chair. Okay, you can also repeat what we did on the floor if you don't want to do it through a chair. Kristen, you should just repeat just the chair work that we did before, if that's what you're doing, or you could do like Supta Baddha Konasana. Okay. All right, so I'm going to show you it. It's a little tricky to get into, so I want you to be careful. Okay, and I'm just going to show it. That you could get caught up in the chair. So here I am in the chair. This is the part that's tricky. I just put my left leg sitting back through the chair. Okay. Can you see that? Okay. My right leg is free of the chair. And I'm going to put my right leg over the top of the chair. Okay. My right leg is over the top of the chair. My left leg is through the back of the chair. And then I lie down on the chair. I'm a little too close to the wall, unfortunately, so I can't straighten my bottom leg out. Okay. But what you're going to do is then reach up. Can you put the strap on your foot? Okay. And you're going to straighten that top leg out. And keeping the top leg straight toward the ceiling, you can reach your arms all the way down toward the floor and get a nice opening in the side of the armpit. Okay, so that's Ekapada Dvipada Viparita Dandasana on the chair. Okay. Okay. Got it? If you don't have a chair, you can just repeat what we did on the floor, okay, with the brick, or you can, there you go. Cliff, scoot a little more toward the leg side on the chair, okay, so you don't fall off on your head side. Okay, good.
Yeah.
There you go. That looks good. It'll probably work on your couch, Ryan, just fine. Okay. Nice, Chaya. Can you just get your arms straight and straighten out your bottom leg a little bit more? And try and pull that top leg away from the chair. That looks fantastic, Vicki. Good, Bob. There you go, Melinda. Melinda, maybe scoot a little bit more toward your buttock side. Yeah, there you go. Nice, Marcia. Straighten both of your legs if you can.
Bottom leg straight.
Yeah.
So if you like this sequence, you can thank Marcia, who said, is it backward bending week? And she's right, it is backward bending week. Okay, that's pretty good. Now getting out of it's a little tricky too. Okay, you have to bend both knees. So you're gonna put your right leg back on the chair. Make sure you bend your left leg so it's on the floor. Make sure your buttocks are on the chair, and then you come up, okay? Then you have to extricate yourself from the chair. Yeah, that's it, Cliff, way to go. Okay, then do your second side. Okay, so again, you have to step through the chair with your right leg only. Sit on the chair, and then you're gonna put your left knee over the back of the chair. Okay. Then put the strap on your foot if you haven't already. Then lie down on the chair. You may need to scoot a little bit. A lot of you look like you're a little bit too far off the chair toward the head side, okay? So you wanna make sure those shoulder blades are really on the chair, okay? The shoulder blades should be on, most of the shoulder blades should be on the chair, okay? So that the chair doesn't tip over, okay? Now you can straighten out your top leg, okay? Straighten out your bottom leg if it's not too much. And then keeping your top leg going straight up toward the ceiling. So it has to stay stable and firm in the air, right? And then you can work to stretch your arms above your head. Okay. And Kirsten, you just are in either the regular Dvipada on the chair with your legs bent or in Supta Baddha Konasana. Okay, pretty good, everyone. So chair, Ekapada, Dvipada, Viparita Dandasana. Good job. Okay, remember, be careful coming out. Okay, so you have to bend your knee, put it on the top of the chair, bend your bottom leg, make sure your buttocks are on the chair as you push yourself up. There you go, good. Okay, that was good, y'all. You did well. Okay. All right, that was fun. Any questions about that? It's a kind of complicated pose, but y'all actually did really well with it. All right, so now it's time. We've got the chair. So let's actually do a couple of chair twists with the chair since we've got it here. Okay, so I've got my chair. I'm going to sit back through the chair again with both legs this time. Put the heels on the side of the chair, and you're just going to turn to the right. What I meant by heels on the side of the chair is that my feet are out, my heels are on the back leg of the chair. And then you're just going to pull with your hand on the top of the chair, have your right hand on the back of the chair and turn. For Sanuti, keep the twist mostly up in the top chest and not so much in the lower abdomen, right? And then you just go to the other side too. So press down into your feet, lengthen up through your side ribs, and then exhale, turn and rotate yourself around. Lengthen up, exhale, turn and rotate. Inhale, lengthen up, exhale, turn and rotate. And come back to the center and do it one more time to each side. As you inhale, make yourself taller from the tailbone all the way up through the head. And as you exhale, turn and rotate yourself around. Lengthen up, exhale, turn and rotate. And then last side, go to the other side. Inhale, lengthen up, exhale, turn and rotate. And come back to the center. Okay. If you don't, how do I want to teach this? Try it. If you have wall space, it would be good to use the wall. Okay. If you have a chair, you can put the chair against the wall. Okay. If you don't have a chair, you can work with your feet up the wall. Kirsten, you're going to do like Setubandha off the bolster. Okay. But what we're going to try and do is take advantage of the chair to do a little bit of work in getting straighter up in shoulder stand. And I'm going to show it with the chair, but you can also set up at the wall in the same way. Well, I'm going to show it without the chair first, just for I know a couple of you don't have a chair. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your shoulder stand blanket, okay, and you're going to put it about the distance of a brick away from the wall. And then you're going to put all of your shoulder stand blankets there. Okay. Then if you have a chair, you're going to move your blankets out of the further away, and you basically replace the brick with the chair. Okay. So it looks like this. And you've got now, and actually if you have the chair, you could use it as a spacer between the chair and your blankets. Okay, does that make sense? And if you don't, and if you don't have all of the props, it's okay. You could actually do the same thing just flat on the floor. It just wouldn't be as nice on your neck. Okay. All right. So this is what it looks like. Okay, I've got my set of shoulder stand blankets and I've got my chair. Okay. So you make that setup or something equivalent. And then I'll show you what to do. Cliff, can you flip your top blanket so that the fringes of the blanket are facing back toward the chair? Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to demonstrate what we're going to do. And I'm demonstrating on the chair, but you could also be at the wall. So I've got my head on the floor, like I always do for shoulder stand. My buttocks are on the brick, and my feet are up on the chair. Then I'm going to hold on to the bottom, the front chair legs with my hands. And it's really what I'm just going to do is lift myself up, okay, and tuck my shoulders in more, so I'm in a big, huge Chaturpadasana. Yeah. I'm going to tuck my shoulders underneath me, really work the hamstrings and the buttocks like we did all class. If you want to work with the strap, you can. And you can just stay here. It's actually kind of lovely feeling. Or you can put your hands on your back. And look, we've got Ekapada again. Isn't that neat? Ekapada again. Okay. And then maybe you can scoot up with both of your legs. Be here. Then you'll come down and lower yourself down. Okay? So you can do exactly the same thing walking up the wall. Okay? You just have your feet close to the wall and you lift and walk up the wall. Okay? So give that a go, everyone. It's a shoulder stand. Okay. Taking advantage of the chair with your feet on the wall, and your feet either on the wall or on the chair. There you go. Your head's on the floor, your shoulders are on the blanket, and your legs are up on the chair. So your buttocks may be a little bit underneath the chair, particularly if you're taller.
Like that. Wow, yes, you can.
Okay, I would suggest let him lay down on the setup and then you put the chair underneath his legs. Okay, so that maybe he has a little bit of room. Okay, so head on the floor.
Skip up.
Yeah, head on the floor. Shoulders are on the blankets. Feet are up on the chair. Okay. Head on the floor, shoulders on the blankets. That's fine, Marcia, to do also.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's it, right? Right, if you could stay with your feet on the wall, okay, for a little while, really lift those hamstrings and buttocks up toward each other. Yes, and really do that work. Walk your hands lower down your back now. Keep, and even, yeah, keep that, that's the work. What you're doing right now is shoulder stand, okay? There you go, good. And then you can try lifting one leg up. You can try lifting the other leg up. Okay? But that work at the wall is really key, okay? Or work with your buttocks, legs on the chair, because it really helps you get the shoulders tucked underneath you. There you go, Bob. That, Pratima, that looks very nice. Really nice broadness across the collarbones. Good work, Chaya. That looks good, Marcia. And the option, if you don't want to do this, is just you can be off of a bolster in Setu Bandha, okay? There you go, Cliff, way to go. Okay, and then can you bring one leg back down to the chair and the other leg back down to the chair? If you want to go up one more time, you can, or you can come down and come into legs up the wall pose. So give that a go and come into legs up the wall pose. Melinda, a little bit, your legs were listing over to the left. I think you fixed it though, so it's good that you noticed it. And then when you've done your shoulder stand, that looks good, Cliff, very good. When you've done your shoulder standing work, just slide into legs up the wall pose. You can either work with a bolster underneath your buttocks or you can have your back flat. Both are good.
Legs up the wall.
They just have slightly different effects. That's really looking good, Melinda. Nice bolster, Pratima. Spread your toes a little bit more, Ryan. There you go. Good, Marcia. Nice job. And once you're in legs up the ball pose, Just let your eyes release into the back of your head. Your tongue release away from the roof of your mouth. Unclench the jaw. Let the back of the throat release. Let the sides of the throat release. Let the base of the throat release. Let your ears draw inward. Completely relax the features of your face. Become quiet within. If you are, particularly if you're up on some height, you'll really feel that residual chin toward the chest work. But it's there too, even if you're flat. Bob, move your arms a little bit wider apart so that it's fine to keep them above your head, but you just don't want to close off the top chest. Okay, so like you can bend those elbows and just make sure that the collarbone's staying broad. Nice leg work, Gay and Cliff. I really like that setup, Marsha. I'm gonna have to try that myself. Okay, if you're comfortable here, you can stay here for another couple minutes, but in the next minute or two, go ahead and make your transition to Shavasana of your choice. And we got about 4 minutes left in class. So you want to end in Shavasana. You can either just be flat on the floor. You could put your legs up on the chair if your back is bothering you at all. You could be on your side. You could be with your knee bolster underneath your knees, whatever Shavasana your body mind is calling you to do. So we worked a lot with opening the front groins today. When the front groins are open, generally there's a little bit more ability for the abdomen to relax. And I find when I really can work to get the groins open, the rest of my body relaxes much more readily. It's just really a lot of tension that most people have in their groins, not everyone. And they do a lot of work holding the legs and the pelvis in relationship. But that's just my own experience. You may have a very different one. But regardless of what your experience is in any particular Shavasana, do notice it. Even try and internally articulate for yourself what the experience is. That's how we build up viveka, our sense of discrimination and discernment. But having done that, you also want to have the experience of letting go and just simply being in the pose. So there's the reflective dimension, and then let's say there's the absorption dimension. And both are important aspects of what asana requires our mind to do. We have to be able to observe what is in fact the case. And be aware of both its good and possibly bad qualities. But we also have to learn to simply abide in experience as well. And it's, again, a very different activity of the mind. It's really pretty amazing, the many activities of mind that we have. And the human mind has the capacity to do all of those things. Anjali says, when the mind is still, when it's free of its vrittis, we come to dwell in that space of our own true splendor. Be in that space. Abide there. And from that seat of your true self, from the space of your own true splendor, inhale. Consciously use your inhalations to bring that awareness of your true self with you as you go about your work in the world. Place your hands on your rib cage, bend your knees, roll over to your right side. Those of you still in legs up the wall pose, push yourself away from the wall and roll over to your right side. And then use your hands to push yourself back up. And sit up straight and tall. Close your eyes and fold your palms together at your heart. Again, observe the effect that your practice has on you. Observe it on every layer of your being, from the physical to the most deeply spiritual. In gratitude to the benefit you receive from your practice of yoga, in gratitude to the people of the opportunity to learn and study and practice yoga with, and in gratitude to the lineage of Hatha Yoga itself, as practiced by BKS Iyengar, reaching back to the sages of India, and down through a line of teachers and students to you, here on the mat in Austin, Texas. Namaste. Or wherever you happen to be in the world. Good job, everyone.